Welcome to my channel Tech Tutorials 2K21. So today I'm going to explain the basic concept of compiler design, that is a language processor. Before we are going to take an explanation about the compiler, interpreter and assembler, first we'll see why we need a language translators. Simply we can say the language translators are the programs which are going to convert one language to another language. For any programming language, we are going to return for a computer, right? We can return a programs for the computers and we instruct the computer to do some operation. And we all know computer is an electronic device. So you can take any electronic device. It is going to be operated in two modes, that is on or off. So you can take a switch. It's an electronic device. It is going to be operated in two states. Either you can on the switch or off the switch. So simply we can represent in a form of 0 and 1. So now you can understand that your computer is an electronic device which can able to understand the language. It is in a form of zeros and ones. And this type of language we can say machine language. And now coming to the other hand, like the human or the programmer which is going to write the programming languages to instruct the computer can understand the general language. Simply we can say English. So human cannot understand the language in form of zeros and ones, whereas the computer cannot understand the language in a form of English. So now the human needs to interact with the computer. Definitely we need some intermediator or a mediator in between the human and the computer, which is going to translate the human understandable language to machine understandable language. So that work is taken by the language processors. So I hope you understand why we need a language processors, because we need to convert human understandable language to machine understandable language. So depends on the language and the way we are going to convert into another, we can take three different types of translators. So I'll start with the compilers. So simply we can say compiler is a program or it's a translator, right? So simply we can say compiler is a program or a translator which is going to convert high level language to machine language. So simply we can say a compiler is a program or a translator which is convert high level language to machine understandable language. So I already specify high level language is nothing but English and machine understandable language is nothing but zeros and ones. And the translator is having the capability to convert high level to machine as well as machine language to high level. Why? Because these are the intermediators between the computer and the human. So both are two different things. They are going to understand two different languages. So now the compiler is able to understand both the languages and it is going to convert one language to another language on both sides. So simply we can take a compiler. So this is your compiler. So this compiler will accept input in one language and it is going to convert and it will produce output in another language. So it can say the input language as a high level language. It takes an input as a high level language and which is also known as a source code. And it is going to convert a low level language. So that is your machine language. Right? So simply the compilers are used to convert high level language to machine understandable language. So it takes input as a source code and it produces the output as a machine code or a target code. So now coming to an interpreter. So we can say interpreter is also a program or a translator which is going to convert a high level language to machine understandable language as like your compiler. Only the difference between the interpreter and the compiler is the compiler will take the entire program once and it is going to convert the program into machine language. Whereas an interpreter, it will take the source code line by line, right? It will take the source code line by line and it is going to convert an equivalent machine understandable language. So that is only the difference between the compiler and the interpreter. So we can say some of the examples of the compilers. We can say your C compiler, C++ compiler. So everything will take the entire program and it is going to convert into a machine understandable language. Whereas we can say Python, Java. So they will act as an interpreter. Like it will take code line by line and it is going to convert a high level language into machine understandable language. That is only the difference between compiler and interpreter. Whereas the assemblers, so assemblers also are type of translators which are programs which is going to convert one language to another language. So a part of this high level and low level languages, we have another type of language is called assembly language. Assembly language. So which is in a form of mnemonics. So like we have an instructions which can be executed by a microprocessor. Like we can say move R1 comma R2, add A comma B. So this type of language we can say assembly language. So for that we need an assemblers. Simply we can say we need an assembler which will take an input as an assembly language which is in a form of an instructions and it is going to convert a machine language. So all these are the translators which are going to convert one language to another language.